Welcome to Diliman Preparatory School Annual Library Orientation. This is Angeli Domingo, Primary School Librarian. The library is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, except for the ECE Library, which opens from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Library Rules and Regulations. Every student is required to have a library card. The library card is non-transferable, excluding high school library, which will be entering to the digital age of library database. Lending of card to others is subject to suspension of his or her library privileges. Students entering the library are required to leave their bags and other things, food, drinks, and PE materials in the shelves near the entrance. Each student are required to sign in to our library users statistics near the entrance. Loitering, talking aloud, eating, sleeping, and littering inside the library are strictly prohibited. Silence and courtesy must be observed at all times. Fiction books may be borrowed for 3 days and may be renewed for another day if no prior request for them. Non-fiction books may be borrowed for 2 days and may be renewed for another day if the books are not in demand. General reference books like encyclopedias, dictionaries, almanacs, atlases, and yearbooks cannot be checked or brought out from the library. Books are to be used properly. Leaning, tearing, and writing on them should be avoided. Newspapers, weekly magazines, and other periodicals must be read inside the library. Losses and all damages should be reported immediately to the librarian. Lost books must be replaced with the same title or similar subject matter. All library users are requested to behave well inside the library and must comply with the rules and regulations promulgated by the department. Let's proceed to our library services. First, the reference section. These materials include encyclopedias, dictionaries, atlases, almanacs, and yearbooks. Next is the general circulation section. Then, the Filipiniana section. This section contains books published in the Philippines or written by Filipino authors. Then, the fiction books section. Next is the textbooks section, teacher's guide section, maps section. Next is the periodical section, which includes newspapers and magazines. Then, the new book section. Also available is the internet research and CD-ROMs for faculty and students. Before we end our presentation, let me introduce to you our ever-smiling librarians, which gladly help you in your research and library needs. Headed by Miss Loida S. Cruz, Mrs. Eleanor Sampiano, our cataloger, Miss Merly Lotivio, our DCTI librarian, Mr. Luis Asuncion, our high school librarian, Mrs. Maribeth Tarun, our grade school librarian, yours truly, Mrs. Angeli Domingo, your primary school librarian, Mrs. Milagros Cabral, our ECE librarian, and Mrs. Venus Seraon, our Annex librarian. Announcement. Book Lovers Club for grade school, high school, and annex is now open for qualified applicants. Please ask your respective librarians for the application. As we close, let me give you an inspirational message from Holbrook Jackson, the author of Joy of Reading. Reading is an adventure. When you go with the poets into the realms of fancy and imagination, you see life with the novelist. You go down to the sea in ships and unto the ends of the earth with great explorers. The scientist takes you into the laboratory. In biography, you are let into the mystery of men's lives. The historian reconstructs the past and gives you glimpses of the future, and the philosopher gives you a glimpse of his wisdom.
You are the one. I will love you faithfully forever, all of my life. You are the one. I give to you my greatest love for all of my life. You are the one. I will love you faithfully forever, for all of my life. You are the one. I give to you my greatest love.